With me now I have Inglewood Club Secretary Barbara Gibson. Barbara, welcome to Let's Talk Football.
Thank you very much. First time I've heard about you.
Well, you hear strange things out there and we're one of the stranger. You are an actual inductee in the WA Hall of Fame, I believe.
Yeah, the Football Hall of Fame. Yes, I was one of the inaugural inductees.
Okay. What is your background in the game, in the football game?
Up until 1974, I was a devoted Aussie rules footballer, and then I got interested in, I was doing a course actually, and I went to women's soccer meetings with a friend, took the minutes in the back of the hall for practice, and when the lady spat the dummy, who was secretary, I was volunteered. And I was with women's soccer for 10 years, and during the last 2 years of that, I became involved with the semi-pro side through Mr. Ted Gray, who was the secretary of the day with the old Soccer Federation of WA in the Velodrome, and I've been with that side of the soccer ever since. I've been with Inglewood now. I'm in my 11th year as their secretary, so we're getting to be like an old shoe with each other.
And I believe Mr. John Howard has recognised you as well.
Yes, with an Australian medal, I think it's called, which was awarded to me last year, in 2006, for my services to soccer. And I was very honoured with that. It's very unexpected. Somebody nominated me and I was accepted.
And how have you seen the changes at the moment in the administration side of football in, say, WA, because you're in it that long now?
For the soccer itself, I would have to say that probably the best years for soccer within the 80s, because you had the ethnic side of it was still very, very strong. You had support. You had, the clubs were financial and money was easy in those years. It was right from day one, I suppose, since I'm involved. There has always been, someone's always disliked the way soccer was being administered. But it was going on fairly well, and there's always hiccups, so everybody wanted to change. So it went from the Soccer Federation to the PSL to the Professional Soccer League, was known, and then it went to Soccer West Coast. Then it's now gone to the current one, which is Football West. I don't really think that's been much better. It's now become, where before the clubs had a certain amount of control over their destiny because they would meet together and decide things and the rules, etc. Now we are invited by a company to play in their competition, which is totally different. So you don't have any control over what you do. They make the rules. You have a mediocrity, I suppose, something I'm trying to think of. You have a say only as much as you meet together, like a zone reps will meet, and then the standing committee reps will meet, and they'll decide on they'd like to do this, that and the other, and that's the way it goes. But if it isn't acceptable to the board, then it won't go through. So basically, as I say, it's just like you've joined, you pay a membership fee to this company to play in their competition, and their rules, their everything. So, I suppose in some ways it's good. I'd probably get shot down by saying this, but we're always complaining about them, so they can't be doing all that crash hot. Some of the areas, yes, I suppose, but I can't really on the top of my head now say where. For instance, as far as I'm concerned as secretary, the process of registering our players in this year has been diabolical, and I know it has been for the Football West side of it as well, because we were supposed to, from the Football Federation of Australia, supposed to have a computerised system all coming in this year, which didn't eventuate. Now, supposedly it's coming in 2009, which meant that we were back again registering on forms, but they changed the ID cards, so you had to have digital photos, and it was horrendous. I think I got my last payer registered the other day, and I'm still waiting for the cards because they haven't had the chance to get them out. But in that respect, I don't know. But the game itself, when Glory came on, it seemed to help. It boosted a lot of, you had more players, more junior players coming interesting and want to get involved. but then they waned in their support. We are still middle of the road. I don't think we're keeping our heads above water, like all clubs.
Do you get much support from the likes of Perth Glory?
No, none at all. No. Through Ziggy, we had them, we might have had the coaches come here at times. Occasionally they use our venue, but no, not now. No, that was back when Stanger was president in there. So now they're nothing like what the football Aussie rules have. We don't have that.
Is that since the introduction of the A-League, would you say, when FFA took over?
The A-League has always been, whatever Glory played in was the National League or the A-League. It's a little bit better, I suppose, from our point of view, and is when it was the National League, we lost an awful lot of players from our clubs with very little return from Glory. They were able, because Nick Tanner was a very smart man, he was able to work things to their advantage. So the clubs didn't get anything very much. You had to play 5 games before you got this, that and the other. There's none of that to my knowledge now, and there probably is to a degree, but we haven't had any in our club, any boys that have gone beyond trying out and getting to make the grade.
And how do you think the club will go this year itself?
I'm hoping they can sit and get in the top 4. We all are. If we stay middle of the table or just above, that will be an achievement. But we've got a new coach who took over from Bobby Despotovsky. So far he seems to be doing very well. Our players seem to be now a good knitted group with, all okay with each other. We've got a nice young crop of young kids coming through, even from our 15s, getting the odd run up in the 18s and then up in the 23s. The thing I find difficult, I suppose, is for years when the old Soccer Federation, you had first team, reserves and under 18s. Now, then it went from first team, under 21s, then under 23s and 18s. But now they're gone back to first team, reserves and 18s. So, whichever way you cut the cloth, it's still the same group of players, the same age group, So, but I'm hoping they're going to do well, the boys, because we do, when you see them together in the clubhouse, they are a good group of lads and they all shy with each other. And I sometimes forget I'm there and say, oh, sorry, because I said a word they shouldn't say. I walked into the dressing room the other day and I was chasing the the team manager for something, and I'm standing in the door and there's all these young bodies flashing past in and out. And somebody up to me said, did you go in the change rooms? And I said, yeah, why not? And they, all those naked fellas. I said, well, I had 4 sons, so nothing they've got is any different to what I've seen. So I said, there's nothing to it, you got a job to do, you do it.